Hey there guys, and welcome to the video we've all been waiting for, the full look at the pre-release Raichu card. In this video, we're going to look at the full history of the Raichu, starting with how the Raichu was created, and then looking at the myths and legends that followed this card throughout the Pokemon collecting community. I've done a lot of research into this, so hopefully I'm able to dispel some rumours that a lot of people still believe, including a few that I may have quoted myself in the past. But this time, I've done my best to double check my sources and be exactly sure with what I'm saying. So everything you're hearing should be 100% correct. First of all, let's talk about what the pre-release Raichu actually is, for those of you who don't know. Put simply, the pre-release Raichu is an unlimited base set Raichu with a green pre-release stamp in the lower right corner of the card art. It also just so happens to be one of the rarest, one of the most desirable, and certainly the most expensive English Pokemon card ever created. Add this to the fact that it remained a mysterious legend for almost 7 years, and it's not hard to see why this card is frequently called the Holy Grail of English Pokemon cards. The reason for the card's rarity is because it's an error card, a card which was never meant to exist. To understand how this error could occur, let's first take a look at how Pokemon cards are created. Pokemon cards aren't printed individually. They're printed up on full sheets of cards, which are then sent away to have any stamps or alterations made to them, and are then cut up into the individual cards to be packed up for sale. Now, most people, myself included, for a long time believed that the pre-release Raichu was created because of the pre-constructed deck sheet, which was a sheet containing a lot of hollows to go in the base set theme decks, plus one Raichu and one Clefable. But my research for this video suggests something different. When Wizards first came up with the idea of the pre-release Clefable, they decided to make a test run. They printed out a sheet that was almost entirely Clefable and sent it away to be stamped with the pre-release stamp. This was just one sheet to test the stamp, make sure everything looked okay before putting a full batch into production. Now, at some point on this sheet, Clefables switched over to Raichus. The Raichus were never intended to be stamped, but when the sheet was stamped, they were stamped by mistake as well. So when they sent the full batch off, Wizards obviously altered the sheet, either so the Raichus wouldn't get stamped, or they wouldn't appear on the sheet at all, and it would be a full sheet of just Clefable. The few Raichus that were stamped on the first sheet were cut up into the individual cards, and they were given out to the highest up Wizards of the Coast staff who were working on Pokémon at the time. Again, I apologise for my misinformation in my last video. Like many others, I was mistaken in my belief that many of these cards were created and most were destroyed, with only a few being saved. But it does appear that only a few were ever actually created, and those are the ones given out to the Wizards employees. A few different numbers have been quoted for how many Raichus were on the sheet. The most common numbers are 8 and 11, although people do often quote anywhere from 6 to 12, but 8 and 11 are ones that have come from semi-official sources. To me, 11 makes the most sense, because when sheets are created, they're done in 10 by 11. So if there were 11, that would mean there was one entire row of just Raichu. But, like I said, I don't know for definite, and I think at this point there's probably no one who knows for definite, as anyone who did know has probably forgotten the exact details at this point. I mean, it has been 14 years. So now that we know what the card is and how it was created, let's have a look at the mystery behind it and its involvement in the Pokemon card collecting community. The first documented sighting of a pre-release Raichu by a non-Wizards employee was in August of 1999 at the Tropical Mega Battle Tournament in Hawaii. At this time, one of the people who did community translations of new Japanese cards that were released was living in Hawaii, a man named Edo. As Wizard staff were already aware of Edo and who he was allowed to attend the event and do a report on it. He got to meet some popular Japanese Pokemon personalities, such as Imakuni and Dr. Uyama, as well as meeting staff members from Wizards of the Coast and Media Factory. In his report, he mentions a specific incident with Wizards representative Andrew Finch. Andrew Finch came out again and showed that same guy from Media Factory a special misprint card. Only 11 exist, he said. Many know that there was a Clefable released that had a special green pre-release stamp in the lower right corner of the picture. However, it seems that there were 11 base set Raichus in with the Clefable mix, so they were stamped as well. And so with that one short paragraph in report, a story started which will eventually spiral into possibly the biggest thing this game has ever seen. The card was cited again at some tournaments which were held by Wizards of the Coast. These usually involved a gentleman named Mike Boozer, or Dark Master Trainer Mike, who was a high-up employee at Wizards of the Coast at the time. Mike would often help run the tournaments and would bring the pre-release Raichu with him. When tournaments were over and everything was packed up and almost everyone had gone home apart from the last few judges, Mike would bring out the pre-release Raichu card to show to the last few people around. Always completely off the record, of course. It's been said that he would often verbally deny the card's existence while showing you the card in his binder. This meant that a lot of people such as tournament organisers and judges got to see the card and were able to verbally confirm to people that they had seen it. Which of course just added to the card's mystery. At this time, the card was top of every collector's wants list. People offering up large sums of money and some offering to trade their entire collections just to get this card. The mystery and legend truly made the card's demand go through the roof. But collectors soon realised that their efforts were in vain. None of these cards were showing up for sale or for trade anywhere that could be found. Wizard staff were still refusing to even acknowledge the card's existence, let alone provide any evidence of it. So no matter how hard people tried, no matter how hard they begged, it seemed like they were never going to get official confirmation of this card's existence. But all of that finally changed in early 2006. Yes, even 3 years after losing the Pokémon license, Wizard staff members still hadn't made any sort of official announcement about this card. Then, a guy named Pokepop, one of the head admins of the Pokegym, and someone who'd been judging way back to early in the Wizards era, convinced Mike Boozer that maybe it was finally time to break the silence. And so, in honour of Pokegym's 7th anniversary, 6.5 long years after Edo's tournament report, an article was published which officially confirmed the existence of the pre-release Raichu, including photographs of Mike Boozer's own copy of the card. Once again, the community's interest was piqued, praying that just one would pop up somewhere for a public sale. But still, one didn't. Stories have been told that somewhere around this time, a copy of the card did change hands, for around $10,000, but neither the seller nor the buyer ever officially confirmed it publicly. It was 3 years after Pokepop's article that people started mentioning the pre-release Raichu again, when a rumour was going around that one was for sale, and a collector by the name of Will announced that he had decided to buy the pre-release Raichu card. The sale was completed for $10,500, and the pre-release Raichu once again found itself on the front page of Pokegym in an article published on April the 1st. Probably not the best day to publish an article if you want people to believe it, especially as the Pokegym was well known for its April Fool's jokes. And so began 24 hours of people arguing over whether or not the article was telling the truth, until at the start of April the 2nd, Pokepop finally revealed that it was indeed true. Will did purchase the card for $10,500. This became such big news as it was now the first official public sale of this card. Now, that's the last that the pre-release Raichu has ever had major publicity. But it is kind of well known now that Will doesn't have the card anymore. A little while after buying it, he actually sold it to another collector for the same $10,500, and still rests in that same collection to this day. So apart from that private resale of the card, in the 4 years since the pre-release Raichu sale made big news, we haven't even had a sniff of another copy existing. But still, the legend of the pre-release Raichu rages on. Every collector knows this card. While people may disagree about it, some like it, some don't, everyone seems to have a strong opinion one way or the other. And so, for now, that concludes the story of the pre-release Raichu, the holy grail of English Pokemon cards, and the biggest mystery to ever hit this game. I mean, who knows when we're going to see another one for sale? One could pop up next week, or it may be another 4 years. We just don't know. If there are any further developments, I'll definitely let you guys know. Who knows, maybe next time I'm making a video about a pre-release Raichu, it might be to show you my own copy. So, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Creating the video and doing all the research behind it was definitely something that was enjoyable to me, allowing me to delve deeper than I ever have into the history of one of the things I love most, the Pokemon trading card game. And if I wasn't doing this video, I may not have done that. So, huge thank you to you guys for giving me a reason to do this. And finally, huge shout outs to Edo, Pokepop, Mike Boozer, and everyone at Wizards of the Coast who made the history of this card so fascinating by essentially being massive trolls for about 7 years. I'll leave you guys some links in the description to Edo's original Tropical Mega Battle article, Pokepop and Mike Boozer's reveal article, and the article regarding Will's purchase of the card. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments or email me at djgigabyte@live.co.uk. or just pop on over to the Pokegym or the UPCCC or any of the other big Pokemon forums, because really this is one card that some of us just never get sick of talking about. The vote is still going on over on the last video of the Wizards promo series, voting for whether I do videos about Wizards sets or Nintendo promos next. So if you have an opinion, check that out. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.